Meren of Clan Toth versus Azusa Lost But Seeking. Not had the best of luck getting into opening hands with lands in them today. Alright, that is too many lands really, but we're going to have to put something on the bottom anyway. So let's put a forest on the bottom, and then we can get, I think an overgrown tomb into play. A fast start from Azusa, so I will be very intrigued to see if we're actually going to have any chance of winning this one. Do we go for Assassin's Trophy or not? I mean, they can just get Azusa straight out is the only problem. And if we go for the Assassin's Trophy onto the Mana Crypt, they only go down by 1 mana because they'll get a land out. Yeah, let's just hold up the trophy and pass the turn. Hopefully we will get use of the Merciless Executioner next turn. Another land for our opponent. They've only got 2 cards left in hand, so they're going to be able to cast anything they like off the top, but they have to draw into the thing first. A Beast Whisperer should be able to get them into some more stuff. That triggers on cast, doesn't it? So let's... no. I was going to blow up the Beast Whisperer now, just in case they go for a creature during their second main, but we might enable them to get into a creature with Assassin's Trophy, because it does bring the land in untapped. So let's take them off their card draw here. Get into yet another land. I don't think we've drawn anything other than lands this game so far. We'll just go for Merciless Executioner and try and get the command attacks up on Azusa. Probably going in for our commander next turn, and then we'll get that Merciless Executioner back into our hand anyway. And now a Regal Force from our opponent, so had we not have used all that removal, they would have drawn 3 cards there. As it stands, Regal Force was just 7 mana to get into 1 card off of that. Let's go Forest, and we'll get down our commander. And then we've got Entomb as well, so next turn we could set ourselves up with a sack outlet maybe. And then we can start getting some experience counters onto Meren. Or the experience counters go onto us as a player actually. Swinging in with a 5/5, we'll just take that. Still 2 cards in our opponent's hand. And we've got the Merciless Executioner back now. So let's play a swamp and we'll go in for said Merciless Executioner. We've got both Vamp Tutor and Entomb to go for now. We'll get an experience counter here when we sacrifice the Merciless Executioner. And now we can bring something back that has 1 CMC, so let's go for Entomb. And we'll bring back a Viscera Seer, I think, because this can sacrifice itself and we'll get a Scry for that. Try and set up our draws a little bit. And let's swing in at our opponent with Meren. Then Meren triggers. We will go for the Viscera Seer, like we said. Just deciding to play Azusa again. And then going in for Rex Sage. I was actually considering going in for a Phyrexian Arena there from the Vampiric Tutor, so I'm glad to see Reclamation Sage now. Surprisingly going after their own Mana Crypt. I don't think they're too worried about... Oh no, they just decided not to destroy it. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if their life total's too low. Not low enough to worry about Mana Crypt just yet. But we've seen Reclamation Sage come down just to block things by the looks of it. So hopefully our opponent does not have any other spot removal. Seeing as how we don't have anything in hand, let's just go for the Mind Slicer here. And we'll try and find out what our opponent has in hand. We'll drop a land, play out the Mind Slicer. And then let's sacrifice the Mind Slicer, see what our opponent's got in hand. We get another experience counter and we force everyone to discard their hand. Okay, our opponent had a World Spine Worm, which I think they might have been able to get out next turn, so it's good to get rid of that. Does get shuffled back into our opponent's library though. Oh, and they had Emrakul as well, so yeah, typical of Azusa running the Eldrazi. Couple of really good cards to get rid of there. Now our opponent's in top deck mode. We do not want Dryad Arbor, we'll put that on the bottom. Then I think we actually want the Merciless Executioner here, so let's have Viscera Seer sacrifice himself. And that way we can get an additional counter on ourselves. We'll get another Scry as well. Another land, we've been drawing a lot of those, so we'll scry 2 lands to the bottom. Then Meren will trigger, we'll go for the Executioner. The more creatures we can leave out of play for our opponent, the worse that guy's Cradle is. So we'll just try and control the board somewhat here. Okay, an Oracle of Muldiah, we can at least see what's coming into play. A Natural State is the next thing that they are drawing into, so they will have some... Oh, and deciding to scoop there, that's a shame. We are in just as much of a predicament with drawing cards as our opponent is, but clearly, once they've had their big creatures discarded, they don't fancy their odds of ripping into anything else. They can clear lands off the top with Oracle of Muldiah, and that's some card advantage, and then they might get closer to some big creatures, so... I don't know about them scooping there. Let's see what we would have drawn into. Okay, Recurring Nightmare. Probably seals the deal for us. But we would have had to wait a turn for that because we've nothing to sacrifice to Recurring Nightmare. And then the turn after, a Dread Return. Yeah, so we were getting into our reanimation stuff and we could have just spammed Merciless Executioner to keep creatures out of play. So, yeah, probably would have gotten away with that one, but... I don't suppose we'll ever know. If our opponent had gotten into a big Eldrazi of some kind, they might have been able to take the game away from us. That was quite a short one, so let's try and play another game. Meren of Clannel Toth versus Kess Dissident Mage. That's a pretty good hand actually, I'm happy with that, so we'll keep. We are on the play. And I think, yeah, turn 1 Viscera Seer, and then... Bloodghast, I think, because we can consistently sacrifice Bloodghast and get experience counters onto ourselves. Nice to have a backup sack outlet in this deck as well. Just starting off with a tap land, we get into another land, which is really good. We'll grab ourselves the Bayou, then we can go for Bloodghast. And thanks to the fetches, we'll be able to get ourselves a couple of scries with Viscera Seer, if needs be. We'll just sacrifice the Bloodghast now. And another swamp on top. I mean, we need one more land, but we can go for Viscera Seer next turn, I think. Yeah, so let's risk putting that on the bottom. Then we'll swing in with the Viscera Seer. Nissa Vastwood Seer. Did I just say Nissa Viscera Seer? Vastwood Seer, if I did say that. Followed by a Talisman for our opponent. And then we get into a better land, arguably, so let's go for the Bloodghast coming out with landfall, and then we'll grab our commander. And then we will allow Meren to see the Bloodghast die. So we'll get an experience counter there, and we'll get a scry again. Avenger of Zendikar. Yeah, we're nowhere near Avenger of Zendikar, so let's bottom that. And then we might as well get another experience counter and another scry onto ourselves, because we can reanimate the Viscera Seer at the end of the turn with Meren. Skull Clamp and Bloodghast is excellent together, so we'll definitely keep that on top. We'll be able to draw a hell of a lot of cards with the Bloodghast and Skull Clamp combo. Getting a lot done in the early turns here. Let's just pass the turn over to our opponent and see if we manage to find Kess here. Argument to be made, actually, for us going for Reclamation Sage onto the Talisman. Alright, Aetherflux Reservoir. That's definitely a combo piece. I think might actually be worth going for the Rec Sage onto the Talisman still. and try and take red off of our opponent. Don't really like mana screwing my opponent, but we are up against Kess, and Ether Flux Reservoir can win out of nowhere. So let's drop the Misty Rainforest. That gets our Bloodghast back into play, of course, and then we'll go Skull Clamp. We'll clamp the Bloodghast and draw 2 cards, and an experience counter as well. Alright, get into a Signet of our own. We'll crack the Misty Rainforest for landfall again, and we'll dump a forest into play, trigger the Bloodghast again, and let's go for Reclamation Sage. We can actually sacrifice the Reclamation Sage and blow both up. I've only just thought of that, so our opponent may scoop here. Yeah, they do. They see that we're going to take them off of the Talisman, sacrifice the Rec Sage to Viscera Seer, and then bring Reclamation Sage back at the end of the turn with Meren to get the Ether Flux Reservoir out of play. Let's see what we would have scried there. Decree of Pain I probably would have put on the bottom, and then we would have drawn into, yeah, Mesmeric Orb's really good. We were just getting really good draws there, and managing to show off just how good Meren can be. For those of you who have never seen Meren, some of you might be new to Commander, this is a commander to be very wary of, because she's very, very powerful. Okay, going up against the same player again, and they are running Kess as well. We do not have any black mana in that hand. We've got a sack outlet we can't play. I think we have to ditch that one. Alright, that is better. We can go for Devoted Druid on turn 1. Yeah, let's keep that. And we'll put the Rune-Scarred Demon on the bottom. Hopefully our opponent doesn't scoop here. We'll go for the Bayou, go for Mana Crypt, and then we'll get down our Devoted Druid. And that means a turn 1 Meren from us. And then we'll pass the turn over. This is a really good mana dork in Meren because it can kill itself. You can just put as many minus counters on this as you want to. It can generate mana by doing that, but it can also kill itself off. Well, our opponent's got fast mana as well. They're going for Sol Ring into a Sky Diamond. So if they can get black down next turn, then we'll see a turn 2 Kess. Yeah, we get into a swamp anyway, so that was always going to guarantee us our commander. Let's go like that. We can play out the Birds of Paradise as well. Or we could go for Altar of Dementia. Or just Eldritch Evolution. Yeah, we could actually sacrifice the Birds of Paradise and grab a Reclamation Sage with that. So let's just hope that our board stays intact until next turn. Our opponent does get into black mana. We're not going to struggle on black mana either, thanks to their Urborg. Imperial Seal comes down. And even if we get rid of Sol Ring, they'll still be able to afford their Kess. They've left blue mana up. So we may see a counterspell here, perhaps. Alright, another land. So we're not going to struggle on mana this game, are we? Let's go like that and that. We'll go Eldritch Evolution. Sacrifice the Birds of Paradise. We'll get ourselves into an experience counter there, so the birds will come back at the end of the turn. And then we can search for something with +2 CMC, which is 3 mana, so that is a Reclamation Sage. We'll go after the Sol Ring, just because our opponent seems pretty fixed on their colours, no matter which rock we blow up. Certainly say yes to that, and then we can go Altar of Dementia. One of our many sack outlets in the deck. And they are paused here, so we'll see if they've got counter magic. Nope, they're just deciding to scoop it up. Yeah, I decided to play another game because the last one was pretty fast, but that's going to be a lot for today, I'm afraid. All we would do there is go Altar of Dementia, milling ourselves. We'd sacrifice the Reclamation Sage and the Druid to get ourselves up to 3 experience counters. And then we would reanimate the Reclamation Sage and probably get rid of the Sky Diamond because I'm more scared of blue mana than anything else. And then we would just attempt to go from there. The more cards we get into our graveyard and the more experience counters we've got, the more options we have of reanimating stuff. And hopefully we would have enough mana to recast Meren again if she managed to go back into the command zone. Anyway, another quick one for all of you. Hopefully you all enjoyed these Meren games. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.